Hello Warriors, this is Mars. Welcome back to another Conan Exiles PvP build video. So I was asked in one of my last videos to make an unbuffed build, or give some suggestions for an unbuffed build. So I have two, primarily just a light armor and a medium armor setup, with a few variations. I feel like with an unbuffed build, you still have a lot of flexibility, which is kind of surprising. Granted, you will have to make some sacrifices. I will just disclaimer, I kind of neglected adding any uh any unnamed city legendaries. For the most part, I wanted to keep it simple, so it's called simple man builds. The focus is to keep it so simplistic where you don't have to focus so heavily on farming for specific pieces. Rather, you will have to look for the specific armorer for the light armor setup, but it won't be impossible to acquire. So let's begin. So this is the light armor variant of the simple man setup. Rotator is usually about the same as it always is. Food, food, healing wraps, stamina there, set pots. Secondary weapon, it's up to you. I prefer the Black Eyes broadsword. It can be an axe, it could be a great sword, it could be a warhammer, whatever you feel. And a spear, since that's my primary weapon, and I've weaved in freedom elixirs. I've kind of neglected, kind of took away the third weapon because I don't feel like it's as necessary as the freedom elixirs, but that may change this patch. I haven't done too much PvP this patch yet. So let me go straight into it. This is my usual setup. I usually keep everything like this. I left the buffs out since they asked no buffs. So here's the setup. We have all bulk plating, so we have 2 Defari Watchers pieces, so that's 4 points in strength. We have the Kari Overseer Mantle, so that's 2 points in strength and 1 point in grit. And we have 2-piece Flawless Ingarian Freebooter, so that's 4 points of vitality. So this setup is mainly more focused on having balance between the 2 stats that you're primarily going to need, and has some flexibility. So depending on what you desire to do, whether it's going to be like just straight damage or glass cannon setup or tanky speedy light armor setup, you have some level of flexibility. So this is the first setup. This is more going to be like the basic warrior build. And since light armor has the 6 rolls, you can kind of play around with your stats. Also, I think I missed it. If this was specifically so you can't be unbuffed, it's the war paint and the elixirs of freedom cannot be unbuffed since they offer stats that just can't be removed. So here we go. So we go for vitality. So we're going tier 4 vitality, tier 4 strength, and we put the rest of the points into agility. This is so we have faster recovery time, so we can avoid hits. Light armor is the fastest in terms of recovery time for all the armor pieces compared to medium and heavy. You will be able to recover way faster than medium and heavy. So this is the first setup. Now there's another variation, tier 2. You could go here, and then go here, one there, and then go tier 3 strength here. Now, depending on what type of weapon you use, you can use tier 3 strength. This is mainly to have like a scabbier type of playstyle. You can either put those points into agility or strength. I mean, there'll be a portion of strength. So if you go tier 3, just be wary that you're not going to deal nearly as much damage as anyone else. But you can compensate by adding heavier hitting weapons like the really anything. I mean, if you have a spear playstyle, use the Mordlin, or rely on poisons and stack that with your whatever spear you decide to use. I highly recommend the Black Ice broadsword. If you want to use Yog's Touch, use Yog's Touch. Those are just high damage dealing weapons. Now this setup, it allows you to get up close and personal. Now you won't be out trading everything, but you will be healing through pretty much anything because you'll have gluttonous gains. And with the agility as high as it is, you'll be able to maneuver away from people very quickly. And like I said, there's many different variations of the build you can really do. You can do a little of this, do a little of that. Stack those points up, stack into more strength. Just do whatever you feel like you want to just really throw points into. And you'll be able to really like figure out what you desire to do with it. Now on to the next setup. So next we have medium armor. It's pretty much the same as light armor. It's not as fast in terms of roll recovery, but it's way tankier. Now here's the base stats. We have all bolt platings on all the armor. We have 3-piece Sobek. So Sobek has higher armor stats than most medium pieces in game. I think the only thing that is close to it is the Cambodian, and we're using 2-piece Kari Soldier. So the gauntlets offer 2 points of vitality and 1 point in grit, and the chest plate offers 1 point in vitality and 2 points in grit. So you get a little bit of extra to play with, and since you have so much vitality, you can really play with it a lot more. Since that's the predominant stat, you can kind of weave everything in and still get pretty much everything you need. So I'm gonna go tier 2 encumbrance. I'm gonna go for tier 5 Vit first. I'm gonna go for tier 5 Vit first. Let's go for, I could go tier 1 grit or tier 2. I'm gonna go tier 2. Now we go 1 here and 2 here, and then you have the option of putting points in the strength, but granted, you may not need to depending on the type of build or type of weapons you run. If you run a spear, you can use poison. It's interchangeable. You can use the Wardland to make up for that lack of damage, because the Wardland really shines when you don't have a lot of strength. So really, since I want to focus more on recovery, I don't really use throwing axes too much. I'm gonna focus on recovery and put those points into agility. And I'll put these last 2 points in accuracy or survival. So put them in accuracy, just give a little bit of a little extra accuracy damage. So the stats. So with the gluttonous gains, I heal through damage a lot more efficiently. 71 armor total damage reduction with good recovery. See the damage for weapons. Melee damage is, where is it? The spear. Melee damage is around total damage of 90, so that's not bad. Now you're not going to be penetrating a lot of heavy builds, but you'll be able to trade with most heavy builds. You just have to watch which attacks you trade with and rely on poisons or rely on higher damaging weapons like the Black Ice Broadsword or Warhammers or Maces. Now let's go for the standard warrior setup. Really, it's the same thing with the light armor. You can really do whatever you want. Granted, you sacrifice a little bit of agility, which really isn't too big of a deal since you still have a pretty decent recovery. You can tank some hits. Really, you can tank some hits, move around people, and keep doing stuff. So this is something you can really weave into unofficial. You just have to really focus on what can be applied and what can't be applied. You always have to make sacrifices since you won't have the option to really throw in accuracy. It's not too big a deal since accuracy has been reduced, or I think it's been reduced. I haven't done any testing to really determine, but this is how I would really build an unbuffed build for official. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to say thanks again. Like and share the video, and if you like it, subscribe. I'm always uploading. I want to say thanks again for watching. Keep slaying.